Okay, so we're ready to get started. Here we have the MXIE icon that you'll want to find and locate on your desktop. Go ahead and click on that and bring it up, and we'll move next to the login screen. Okay, so here we are at the login screen. Typically your administrator will have set up one of two ways. Either they will be using your name or an extension number for your actual login name. Our administrator has set ours up with a extension number, so I'll enter that. They should also have indicated and given you a password, a default password that you want to enter in here. Down here typically you'll remember that password, and then you'll also need the URL or the IP address of the actual phone system. Next, down here you can actually change which language you would like to view MXIE in, and then you're ready to get going, and go ahead and click on OK. Okay, this next screen is your role and location information, and you frankly may or may not see this as you log in as a user. The times when you would see this if you have been assigned additional roles beyond just your extension. For example, if you are a member of a overflow to the operator group, or if you are a call center agent and you are logging into queues and other groups of information, then those groups and those queues will show up here, and you simply check on these different boxes to log into those groups. The external messaging, if your administrator has configured the system so that you have access to connect your chat within the application to external messaging, you'll want to click on this. And then the location is also very important. Now, the location information here will be grayed out unless your organization is one that has multiple systems in multiple locations. If that is the case, it is very important that you go ahead and mark the location that you're in, because that's what appropriately allows us to send the correct 911 information. So that will map you to the local system and send out the appropriate information. So make sure that you check the correct location as you log in, and then we're ready to go, and go ahead and hit OK. Okay, so this is the main MXIE window. First thing that you're going to want to get started and do is down here on the left hand side, you're going to want to connect this software with the device that you intend to use and that's likely, frankly, your telephone. If you're a call center agent and using a soft phone, I'll also show you how to connect to the soft phone as well. So let's get started. We'll go ahead and hit bind and bind to. And for those of you that are using a physical phone, you're likely going to want to bind to a phone by a call from that specific phone device. So go ahead and click on this option, bind to a call from the device, and hit next. Then it will tell you that you need to pick up the phone and dial this code within the next X amount of seconds. So let's dial star 27002, and that will then connect us, and we have now been successfully bound our phone to the software. Now, if you are a call center agent or someone that wants to use a soft phone, let's walk through that process one more time. We'll hit here, go bind to, and this time we're going to bind to the internal soft phone and hit next. And that will change us from a physical phone to a USB headset now that we've connected to the system, and we would be bound and connected to that soft phone. Okay, and go ahead and hit finish. One more time, I'm just going to go back to a phone because that's where most people will likely reside, is with a physical phone. So I am going to go with a call from the device. This will give us a good chance to show this again. I'll lift up the phone, hit star 27003, and now I will be connected to that phone as I'm now successfully bound, and I'll go ahead and hit finish. So now my phone and my software are finally connected, and I'm ready to go. Let's move on over here to the right hand side of the screen, and we'll talk about present statuses. Now over here on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see an available and a little green circle here indicating available. You'll also see those same icons along the top up here. You're available, not available, busy, at lunch, and so forth. These are your present indicators. So essentially what this does is allows people across the organization, and for that case across the world, if you have multiple sites across the world, to be able to see each one of you and your presence, live presence throughout the organization. This will probably be one of the greatest advantages that you guys will see in this new Zultys phone system, is the ability for you to be able to see live the status of every user in every location throughout the organization. So the way that this works is, to change a status is quite simple. You simply just click, and if I'm not available, I click not available, and it indicates it there as well as down here. And then to the other users in the system, now I would be indicated as not available. The other thing that goes along directly with your presence statement is also your presence note. So for example, let's say that today when I go to lunch, I choose to be very helpful and kind to my coworkers and actually indicate the time that I will be back from lunch. So I will say back at 1 p.m. today. And so now when I march as at lunch, the other users in the system will not only see that, but they'll actually see the little notes associated with it as well, and they can obviously tell that I'll be back at 1 p.m. today. The way that they will see that is in these groups as you set up groups and users over here, and we'll go over that next. So now before I continue on, I'm going to go ahead and I'll mark myself back as available in the office today, and put a nice little note there as I continue on. In this section, this is your buddy section, and for many of you, when you first log into the MXIE for the first time, you won't see anything here at all. These are groups that have already been created by our administrator, and you as a user can go in and create these different groups, and I'll show you now how to actually do that to see the different users and so forth. Let me show you a couple of these groups that have been set up already, and essentially these are different, this one's for IT, and there's a series of users in here. I can see each of the different users. I can see Dave has actually put in a nice little presence note today of excellent. We have the other users that are assigned into this area in this group, and Jeff's also put in a presence note today as well, and that's why you're seeing those underneath their individual statuses. These people, the little icon down here in this little section, that's what indicates a note. So the ones that don't have notes, you won't see the little page icon down here in the bottom left hand corner. Jeff is marked as available, and these others, these people are actually not logged into the MXIE client and application, and that's why they'll see a appear offline, or you'll see a blank or no presence statement here. Within the other users and groups, again, to open these groups and close these groups, just click on the little plus signs and they'll open and close, and then I can see each of the individual users. So let's show you how to create your own groups. If you don't have any groups within here, you will right click in the open space and you're going to create a group. So we'll go ahead and hit that. Let's create a tech support group. Tech support. Once I've assigned that group, now I want to add buddies into that group. The quickest way, and the way that I like to do it the best, is to come up here to your address book. When you click on the address book, you're going to see that you have all of these users that are up and available. Up here, you'll see that you have several different options. One of those is your MX, or your phone system directory. When you go into the MX directory, all of the different users throughout all of the different sites will show up in this section, and you can scroll through them. So let's say that we want to add a few people into this tech support group. So what I do is I actually click on Al, and then I'll just hold that down and I'll drag and drop Al right up here into this tech support group, let him go, and now he's been added into that group very simply and easily. And I'll just continue to do that. Let's throw a few of these other people into our tech support group. Let's see, we'll throw Jeff in there as well into tech support. Okay, then I can go ahead and close this group, and now over here you'll see that the tech support now has a plus sign because we've added some additional people into it, and here are those users that we've now assigned into our tech support group. So you can create as many groups as you choose, and they can have as many people in them as you would like, and they are definitely very helpful as you get started with this within the system, to have these different buddies and the people that you use most consistently within these groups over here on the right hand side in the buddy section. Alrighty, now that we've shown you how to make groups and add people into those groups, let's show you the individual extensions and some of the other great features that we can perform here. So let's pick on Cherish here for a second, and we are going to right click on Cherish and look at some of the options that will come up. The first one is to make a call. If we wanted to call Cherish, we could come over here and just click on 103, and that would call her extension. This number 2 SIP extension you won't really need to worry about. That's just her extension at the IP address of the phone server, so don't pay too much attention to that one. But the intercom is one that you may use depending on the types of phones that you have. If you call their extension, it will simply ring. But if you go to intercom, that actually allows you to go hands-free intercom into their office. Now it does put their phone in mute when you come in, but it does allow you to make an announcement, and depending on the settings of the administrator and how you guys do business, some people like intercom and some people don't, but both options are available by going this direction. Now a quicker way to make a phone call, frankly, is just to, if Cherish is here, you can just click on her, drag her into the open call window and drop that call right here, and you'll see that automatically it starts ringing to Cherish, and if and when she picked up the phone, which she just did, then now we are connected to Cherish in this indication right here. These options that pop up are our transfer, park, and hold, but we'll come back to those in a little bit. I want to keep going over here on this right hand side, and we'll hang up on the phone call with Cherish here. So over here, the next option down, other than making a phone call, is to send an instant message. So if we wanted to indicate to her that we have somebody or something's going on, or we want to communicate with Cherish, we can go ahead and hit this send an instant message. And down in this section, then now I have the ability to type in the message that I want to send to her. And go ahead and hit send. Then when she responds, obviously we can go back and forth, and we have the opportunity to just communicate with our chat back and forth. You can actually, in some of these little sections over here, if I wanted to say, oh, I'm tired of chatting, I just want to talk to her, I can click on this and it would actually place a phone call to her and so forth. But the chat in the chat window is fantastic, and I think you guys will really enjoy that function of the system itself. Okay, the other options then, if once we get past chat, is the next one is text message history. Now let's say that Cherish and I had a conversation last week and I want to go back and review that. I can click on the text message history. I can go back and say, okay, well, I want to see it from last Thursday or Friday, I think is when I had that conversation. I can click on other different options with my filter and so forth. We won't go into too much detail here, but essentially you have the ability to go back and look at chats and conversations there. The next one is if I wanted to send an email to Cherish, I could. If you're connected specifically with Outlook, then it'll pop up your Outlook and you'll be ready to go, and it'll put her information directly into the fields there for you already. If I want to send a voicemail to Cherish, I can click on the send a voicemail, and I can go ahead and record that. Click on the little record here button here, and I can start recording this option and so forth. Go ahead and stop. Now depending on your settings, it'll either do that through your headset or through your phone, depending on the settings you have set. The other option past send a voicemail is if I want to send a fax. I could send a fax specifically to Cherish if there was some reason for me to do that. I hit send a fax, and the system does have a built-in fax server, so I have the ability to then come in here and say, okay, I want to attach a fax. The faxes do need to be in some type of an image, so a TIFF, a JPEG, or something like that. So sending a fax, continue through the process. You can actually even go in and change and set set your specific cover page and those types of things that are available. But if you want to know more about that, we'll go into more detail a little bit later.